Imagine yourself a year from now. Now imagine yourself a year from now, but you put in full effort into everything you did. They're two different pictures, right? That's the problem. People don't always put in full effort. So in this speech, we're going to look at why people don't put in full effort, why that's a problem, and the solution to that problem. So an example of this being a problem is students in school. They'll just say, oh, I did good enough just to pass the class, or I got an A, so it doesn't matter. Because a 95 is the same thing as getting 100%. So why try to get the 100? So doing the bare minimum just is something that people do nowadays. They'll just do enough just to get by when you could be doing enough to be great. Another thing that they do is they let their talent carry them. So grit and self discipline as predictors of effort and academic attainment did a study that said that students who put in more effort and have more grit are more likely to get better grades than students who don't. An example of this is in sports. So in track, if a runner that's naturally really good goes out and they never really try during practice, but they were born fast, so it's okay. But then you have someone that's not necessarily as fast as them, but then they put in the work, they grind it out, and they become so much faster than the other person. By the end of the season, the person that puts in the work is going to be the one that's winning. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, wholeheartedly or work heartedly, as for the Lord, not for men." So you need to be putting in your full effort so that you can glorify God. If putting in effort makes us better, and it's what God wants us to do, then why doesn't everybody do it? So one of the problems is comfort culture. It's so easy to just not everything's at our fingertips. You don't have to put in effort to really do much of anything. If you want food, you can just get on your phone and just do DoorDash and they'll bring it right to you. Now, an example of this in media is Wall-E. The the planet becomes total trash and just uninhabitable because everyone they had the technology to just make it easy, and all the people became fat and just lived on a spaceship. And that's not what we want. Comfort zone orientation, individual differences in the motivation to move beyond one's comfort zone. Did a study that said that students willing to put in effort depends on how much they're able to come out of their comfort zone. So if they don't feel like coming out of their comfort zone, if it's not worth it to them, then they're not going to put in any effort into trying to do what they're trying to do. And that kind of goes with our next point, which is the lack of motivation. So pathways to student motivation, a meta-analysis found that students who they need satisfaction to be motivated. If they have no reason to try, if they don't get satisfaction from completing the goal, then they're not going to be motivated to put in any effort into what they're doing. So the last thing of why people don't put in effort is their fear of failure. Nobody likes to put in effort and end up failing. Everybody's done that before, where you tried really hard and you got so far, but in the end, it didn't really matter. And that fear keeps people from trying in the future. So, because it's easy to just be lazy and not look bad because you didn't try. And people, I hear them say it all the time. Oh, I could have done better if I tried. I could have won if I just cared. That's the problem. Why don't they care? So, how do we put in the effort? The beginning of the solution is the growth mindset. The mindset, the new psychology of success, says that students that have a growth mindset are more likely to put in effort, persevere through problems, and to improve over time. So if you think that you're going to do great, you're more likely to be able to push through and meet your goals. But if you say, I don't think I'm going to do good, you're not going to do good. You're going to do bad. So another thing that you can do is have consistent effort. you want to put full effort into one thing every single day, and as that goes on, you want to add more things, and eventually you'll be doing full effort into everything. Do homework effort in Approaches Matter from 2025 did a study that found that students that do homework every day and they do less problems that require more effort to do the problems learned more than students who did a bunch of problems that were more repetitive. So if you put in full effort every day consistently, you'll learn more and grow more. So the next thing that you need to do is to do it for the Lord. 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God." So a story in the Bible that represents this is Cain and Abel. Cain, he offered a sacrifice of his crops, but it wasn't his best crops. Abel offered a sacrifice of an animal, but it was his best animal. God wasn't mad at Cain because it wasn't an animal. He was mad at him because it wasn't his best. So God wants us to put in our best effort. And so the way we can do that is to just put in full effort to whatever we do, and that work will glorify God. So as you go on with your life, I encourage you to pick one thing and do that as hard as you can. Put in full effort into that thing and do that for a while, and then start adding other things to it. Put in full effort into everything you do. So one quote that I found that was good, that is, at the end of the day, it's not what you could have done that defines you, it's what defines you is what you actually accomplish.